The early morning air in Lagos was thick with humidity as Lena arranged oranges on her small wooden cart. Her eyes were red from crying all night. She had barely slept in weeks. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw her mother's pale face and heard her struggling to breathe. Grace had been sick for 3 months now. What started as tiredness and chest pain had become something much worse. The doctors at the government hospital had finally told Lena the truth last week. Her mother needed heart surgery. Without it, she would die in less than 3 months. Lena wiped sweat from her forehead and looked at the coins in her tin box. She had been saving every naira she earned from selling fruits. But it was not enough. It would never be enough. The surgery cost 15 million naira. She had only saved 200,000. A customer came to buy mangoes. Lena smiled and made small talk, but inside her heart was breaking. After the woman left, Lena sat down on the wooden stool behind her cart. She put her face in her hands. How could she save her mother? She had no family to help. Her father had died when she was young. Her mother had raised her alone, working day and night to send Lena to school. Now it was Lena's turn to save her mother, but she had no way to do it. Her friend Ada walked over from the next stall. Ada sold vegetables and always had news about everyone in the market. She sat down next to Lena and noticed her sad face. "You are thinking about your mother again?" Ada said softly. Lena nodded. She could not speak without crying. Ada was quiet for a moment. Then she said something that made Lena look up. "I heard something yesterday. Maybe it can help you. Maybe not. But I think you should know." Lena waited. "There is a very rich man. His name is Chief Bello. He owns many companies. Oil companies, real estate, everything. He is one of the richest men in Nigeria." Ada paused. "He is looking for a wife." Lena felt confused. "Why are you telling me this?" "Because he is willing to pay a lot of money. He wants a young woman to marry him. He will take care of all her family problems. My cousin works as a maid in his house. She told me he has been looking for months." "How old is this man?" Lena asked. "Old. Very old. Maybe 68 or 70. His wife died many years ago. He has no children. He lives alone in a big mansion in Victoria Island." Lena felt sick to her stomach. The thought of marrying an old man she did not know made her want to cry even more. But then she thought of her mother lying in their small room upstairs. She thought of Grace gasping for air every night. She thought of how her mother had sacrificed everything for her. "How can I meet him?" Lena heard herself asking. Ada looked surprised. "Are you serious?" "Lena, you do not have to do this. Maybe there is another way." "There is no other way," Lena said. Her voice was flat and empty. "My mother will die. This is the only chance." Ada gave her a phone number. She said Lena should call and speak to Chief Bello's personal assistant. She said Lena was beautiful and well-spoken. She had a chance. That night, Lena sat by her mother's bed. Grace was sleeping. Her breathing was shallow and painful to hear. Lena held her mother's thin hand. She remembered all the times Grace had gone without food so Lena could eat. She remembered how Grace had worked 3 jobs to pay for Lena's school fees. She remembered her mother's smile when Lena graduated from secondary school. "I will save you, Mama," Lena whispered. "No matter what I have to do." The next morning Lena called the number. Her hands shook as she held the phone. A man answered. His voice was professional and cold. He asked her questions. How old was she? What did she look like? What was her education? Why did she want to meet Chief Bello? Lena answered honestly. She said she needed money for her mother's surgery. She said she would do anything to save her mother's life. The man was quiet for a moment. Then he said Chief Bello would meet her. Tomorrow afternoon. At his mansion. She should dress nicely and come alone. Lena hung up the phone. She felt numb. Was she really going to do this? Was she really going to sell herself to save her mother? She looked at Grace, who was awake now and watching her. Who were you talking to? Her mother asked weakly. No one, Mama. Just a customer, Lena lied. She could not tell her mother the truth. Not yet. That afternoon, Lena went to the market with a heavy heart. She sold her fruits as usual, but her mind was far away. She kept thinking about tomorrow. What would this Chief Bello be like? Would he be cruel? Would he expect things from her that she could not give? Ada came to check on her. Did you call? She asked. Yes. I am meeting him tomorrow. Lena, you can still change your mind. This is a big decision. My mother is dying, Ada. I have no choice. As the sun set over Lagos, Lena closed her stall and went upstairs to their room. She looked through her small wardrobe for something nice to wear. She had only a few dresses. Most were old and faded. She chose the best one, a simple blue dress her mother had bought her for her last birthday. She lay down next to her mother that night. Grace held her hand. They did not speak, but Lena felt her mother's love surrounding her. Tomorrow everything would change. Tomorrow she would meet the man who could save her mother's life. And tomorrow she would agree to marry a stranger more than 40 years older than her. But tonight she was still just Lena. A daughter who loved her mother more than anything in the world. A daughter who would sacrifice everything to keep her mother alive. The taxi dropped Lena at the tall iron gates of Chief Bellow's mansion. She had never seen such a big house before. The gates alone looked more expensive than everything she owned. A security guard checked her name on a list and led her inside. The driveway was long and lined with palm trees. The main house was enormous, painted white with tall pillars at the entrance. Lena's heart pounded in her chest. Her hands were sweating. She wanted to turn around and run away, but she thought of her mother and kept walking. A man in a black suit opened the front door before she could knock. "Miss Lena?" he asked. She nodded. "Follow me. Chief is waiting in his study." Lena followed the man through the house. Everything was expensive and beautiful. Marble floors, crystal chandeliers, paintings on the walls. She had only seen places like this in movies. They walked down a long hallway and stopped at a heavy wooden door. The man knocked twice and opened the door. "Miss Lena is here, sir," he announced. "Let her in," a deep voice said from inside. Lena stepped into the room. It was a large office with bookshelves covering the walls. Behind a massive desk sat Chief Bellow. He was an old man with gray hair and a stern face. He wore expensive traditional clothes and gold rings on his fingers. He looked at Lena with sharp, intelligent eyes. In his right hand he held a walking cane made of dark wood. "Sit down," he said. His voice was not unkind, but it was serious and commanding. Lena sat in the leather chair across from his desk. She kept her hands folded in her lap to stop them from shaking. Chief Bellow studied her for a long moment. "You are very young," he finally said. "I am 24, sir," Lena replied quietly. "And you want to marry me? An old man you have never met before." It was not a question. It was a statement. "I need money for my mother's surgery, sir. She will die without it. So I have been told." He leaned back in his chair. "Do you know who I am? Do you know what people say about me? They say you are very rich and very powerful, sir. They also say I am cold and heartless. That I care only about money and business. Are you afraid of me?" Lena looked at him directly for the first time. "Yes, sir. I am afraid. But I am more afraid of losing my mother." Something changed in Chief Bellow's face. For a brief moment, his hard expression softened. Then it was gone. He picked up a folder from his desk and opened it. "I had my people find information about you," he said. "You graduated from secondary school with good grades. You wanted to go to university but could not afford it. You have been selling fruits in the market for 6 years. You have never been married. You have no criminal record. You take care of your sick mother alone." He closed the folder. "You are a good daughter." Lena did not know what to say, so she said nothing. "I will be honest with you," Chief Bellow continued. "I am looking for a wife for specific reasons. I am 68 years old. I have no family. My business partners expect me to have a wife for social events and dinners. I need someone who can represent me properly. In exchange, I will give you money and a good life." "What exactly do you want from me, sir?" Lena asked. Her voice was barely a whisper. "Respect. Loyalty. You will live in this house. You will attend events with me. You will act as my wife in public. That is all. That is all," Lena repeated. She did not understand. Chief Bellow's face remained expressionless. "I am an old man, girl. I want a companion, not a girlfriend. You will have your own room. You will be free to do what you want during the day. But you will be available when I need you for business or social functions." Lena felt relief wash over her, followed immediately by suspicion. "Why would you do this? Why would you pay so much for just a companion?" "That is my business, not yours," Chief Bellow said sharply. Then he softened slightly. "Let us just say I have my reasons. Do you accept my offer or not? If I say yes, you will pay for my mother's surgery? Today. Right now. Before you leave this house, I will make a phone call. Your mother will be in the best private hospital in Lagos by tonight. The surgery will happen within 3 days." Lena's eyes filled with tears. "And what about after? What about her medicine and follow-up care? Everything will be taken care of. For as long as she lives, your mother will receive the best medical care available. She can live here in this house if she wants, or I will buy you a separate house for her. You choose." It was too good to be true. But Lena had no other choice. Even if it was a trap, even if she would suffer, at least her mother would live. "I accept," she said. Chief Bello nodded. He picked up his phone and made a call. Lena listened as he spoke to someone at a private hospital. He gave instructions in a firm voice. He mentioned her mother's name. He said money was no problem. He said the surgery should happen as soon as possible. When he hung up, he looked at Lena. "It is done. Go home. Pack whatever your mother needs. My driver will take you to the hospital. She will be admitted tonight." Lena stood up. Her legs felt weak. "Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Do not thank me yet. You have not paid your side of the bargain." He reached into his desk and pulled out some papers. "These are marriage contract documents. Read them. Sign them. We will have a traditional wedding in 2 weeks. Everything will be arranged. You just need to show up." Lena took the papers with trembling hands. "One more thing," Chief Bello said as she reached the door. "Do not try to run away after your mother is healed. I'm not a man you want as an enemy. Keep your word and I will keep mine." "I will keep my word, sir," Lena promised. The next 3 days passed in a blur. Grace was admitted to the most expensive hospital Lena had ever seen. The doctors ran tests immediately. On the 3rd day they performed the surgery. Lena sat in the waiting room for 6 hours, praying to God that her mother would survive. When the doctor finally came out, he was smiling. "The surgery was successful. Your mother will make a full recovery." Lena cried with relief and joy. Her mother was going to live. 1 week later, Grace was strong enough to sit up and talk. Lena had to tell her the truth about Chief Bello. Grace cried and said she did not want Lena to sacrifice herself. But Lena held her mother's hand and said it was already done. She said she was happy to do it. The wedding happened exactly 2 weeks after Lena's first visit to the mansion. It was a big traditional ceremony with hundreds of guests. Lena wore expensive clothes and gold jewelry provided by Chief Bello. Everyone congratulated them. No one knew the truth about their arrangement. As Lena stood next to her new husband, smiling for photographs, she felt empty inside. She had saved her mother's life. But she had sold her own future to a stranger. She was now Mrs. Bello, wife of one of the richest men in Nigeria. And she had never felt more alone. The wedding celebration finally ended late at night. Lena was exhausted from smiling and greeting hundreds of people she did not know. Her face hurt from pretending to be happy. Her feet ached from the heavy traditional wedding shoes. The guests had all gone home. The music had stopped. The mansion was quiet now. Lena stood in the hallway outside what she was told would be her bedroom. But the servant who showed her upstairs had said Chief Bello wanted to see her in his bedroom first. Her heart pounded with fear. This was the moment she had been dreading. She had pushed it out of her mind during all the wedding preparations. But now it was here. Her wedding night. She walked slowly down the long hallway to the master bedroom. Her hand shook as she knocked on the door. "Come in," Chief Bello's voice called. Lena opened the door. The room was enormous, with a large bed and expensive furniture. Chief Bello sat in a leather chair near the window. He had changed out of his wedding clothes into a simple shirt and trousers. He looked tired and much older than he had during the ceremony. "Sit down," he said, pointing to another chair across from him. Lena was confused. She had expected him to be in bed, waiting for her. But he just wanted her to sit in a chair. She sat down slowly, still afraid of what would happen next. Chief Bello looked at her for a long moment. In the soft lamplight, his face looked sad. Almost human. Nothing like the cold, stern man she had met in his office 2 weeks ago. "You are afraid," he said. It was not a question. Lena nodded. There was no point in lying. "You think I brought you here to demand my rights as a husband?" She nodded again. Her throat was too tight to speak. Chief Bello sighed deeply. "I need to tell you something. Something I have not told anyone else." He leaned forward in his chair. "I am dying, Lena." Lena stared at him. Whatever she had expected him to say, it was not this. "I have cancer," he continued. "Pancreatic cancer. The doctors found it 6 months ago. They said I have maybe 6 months to live. Maybe less. Maybe a little more if I am lucky." "I do not understand," Lena whispered. "Why did you marry me if you are dying?" "Because I did not want to die alone like a dog," Chief Bello said. His voice was rough with emotion. "I have spent my whole life building my business empire. I have money and power and properties all over Nigeria. But I have no one. No wife. No children. No family. When I die, everything I built will go to the government or to lawyers. I wanted to leave it to someone who deserved it. But why me? You do not even know me. Chief Bello stood up slowly, using his walking cane for support. He walked to the window and looked out at the dark garden below. I had a daughter once, he said quietly. Her name was Rita. She died when she was 7 years old. Lena's heart squeezed with sympathy. I am so sorry. It was a long time ago. 40 years ago. I was not rich then. I was poor. Very poor. I worked as a clerk in a small trading company. My wife and I lived in a one-room apartment. We barely had enough money for food. He paused. Rita got sick. She had a heart problem like your mother. She needed surgery. But I could not afford it. I begged everyone I knew for money. I went to every hospital. I tried everything. But it was not enough. Rita died in my arms. Tears rolled down Lena's cheeks. She understood now. She understood everything. My wife blamed me, Chief Bello continued. She said I was useless. That I had failed as a father and a husband. She left me. I never saw her again. I heard she died many years ago. He turned to face Lena. After Rita died, I made a promise. I promised that I would never be poor again. That I would never be helpless again. I worked day and night. I took risks. I built my business from nothing. I became rich. Very rich. But it was too late. My daughter was gone. My wife was gone. I had all the money in the world, but I had no one to share it with. That is why you helped my mother, Lena said softly. Because of Rita. Yes. When my assistant told me about your situation, I saw myself 40 years ago. A desperate parent trying to save their child. I remembered how it felt to be helpless. I decided to help you. But I also wanted something for myself. I wanted someone with me at the end. I wanted to do something good before I die. Lena wiped her tears. You saved my mother's life. That is very good. Chief Bello walked back to his chair and sat down heavily. He looked exhausted. I married you because I am selfish. I did not want to die alone. But I will not force you to be here if you do not want to. You have a choice. What choice? Lena asked. You can stay here as my wife. Be my companion for whatever time I have left. It will not be long. 6 months, maybe 8 if I am lucky. If you stay, you will inherit everything when I die. All my money, all my properties, all my businesses. Everything will be yours. You and your mother will never have to worry about money again. He paused and looked directly at her. Or you can leave right now. Tonight. I will give you 10 million naira. You can take your mother and go live your life. The marriage will be annulled quietly. No one will know. You will be free. Lena sat in stunned silence. She had expected many things tonight, but not this. Not a choice. Not freedom. Why would you let me leave? She asked. You paid for everything. The wedding was expensive. My mother's surgery was expensive. Because I am dying, Chief Bello said simply. And I realized something these past 2 weeks. I do not want to force anyone to stay with me out of obligation. My wife stayed with me out of obligation and hated me for it. If you stay, I want it to be your choice. Lena looked at this old man sitting before her. He was not the cold, heartless businessman everyone said he was. He was just a lonely, dying man who had lost everything that mattered long ago. He had saved her mother's life not because he expected something in return, but because he remembered his own pain. I will stay, Lena said. Chief Bello looked surprised. You do not have to decide now. Think about it for a few days. I will stay, Lena repeated firmly. You saved my mother. You gave us everything. I will not leave you to die alone. For the first time since she had met him, Chief Bello smiled. It was a small, sad smile, but it was real. Thank you, he said quietly. But I have a question, Lena said. What do you want from me? What should I do? Just be here. Talk to me. Have dinner with me. Keep me company. That is all I want. You will have your own bedroom. Your own space. I just do not want to spend my last days alone in this big house with only servants around me. Lena nodded. I can do that. Good. Chief Bello stood up slowly. Your room is next door. Get some rest. Tomorrow we will talk more. I will teach you about my businesses. I will show you everything. If you are going to inherit my fortune, you need to learn how to manage it. Lena stood and walked to the door. She stopped and turned back to look at him. Chief Bello? Yes. Thank you for telling me the truth. He nodded. Good night, Lena. And please call me Bello. Just Bello. We are husband and wife now after all. Lena smiled for the first time that day. A real smile. Good night, Bello. The morning after the wedding night, Lena woke up in her new bedroom feeling strange. The bed was soft and huge. The room was bigger than the entire apartment she had shared with her mother. Everything felt unreal, like a dream. A gentle knock on the door made her sit up. A maid entered with a tray of breakfast. "Good morning, madam. Chief Bello asks if you will join him for breakfast in 1 hour." Lena nodded. She ate quickly and got dressed. When she went downstairs, she found Bello in the dining room. He looked tired but was reading a newspaper and drinking coffee. "Good morning," he said. "Did you sleep well?" "Yes, thank you," Lena replied, sitting down across from him. "Today we start your education," Bello said. "If you are going to manage my business empire, you need to learn everything. We will start with the basics." For the next few weeks, Bello spent every morning teaching Lena about his businesses. He explained how his oil company worked. He showed her financial statements and taught her to read them. He took her to his office downtown and introduced her to his managers and lawyers. At first, Lena felt overwhelmed. She had never finished university. She knew nothing about business or money management. But Bello was patient. He explained things simply. When she did not understand something, he explained it again in a different way. "You are smart," he told her one afternoon. "You learn quickly. In a few months, you will understand everything." Lena discovered she enjoyed learning about business. It was like solving puzzles. She started reading business books from Bello's library. She asked questions constantly. Bello seemed pleased with her progress. But it was not just business education. Something else was happening between them. Slowly, carefully, they were becoming friends. It started with small things. Lena noticed Bello did not eat much. She started asking the cook to make his favorite foods. She noticed he liked his coffee a certain way. She made sure it was prepared correctly. Bello noticed Lena looked sad sometimes. He asked her what was wrong. She told him she missed her mother, who was recovering in a house Bello had bought for her. The next day, Bello arranged for Grace to visit every weekend. They started having dinner together every evening. At first, they ate in silence. Then Bello started telling stories about his life. He talked about growing up poor in a village. He talked about his struggles when he first started his business. He talked about his mistakes and his successes. Lena listened carefully. She started sharing her own stories too. She told him about growing up without a father. She told him about the market and her friends there. She told him about her dreams of going to university. "You can go to university now if you want," Bello said. "I will pay for everything." But Lena shook her head. "Not now. Right now, I want to learn from you. University can wait." One evening, about 2 months after the wedding, Bello showed Lena a file. It contained information about dozens of families he had been helping quietly. Families with sick children. Families who could not afford school fees. Families who had lost everything in fires or floods. "I have been doing this for years," Bello explained. "Helping people secretly. But I want to do more. I want to create a proper foundation. Something that will continue after I am gone." Lena's eyes lit up. "Can I help?" "I was hoping you would say that." Together, they created the Bello Foundation for Medical Assistance. They hired staff. They set up an office. They established clear rules for who could receive help and how much. They focused on helping families who needed money for medical treatment, especially children. Lena threw herself into the work. She interviewed families who applied for help. She visited hospitals. She made sure the money was being used properly. For the first time in her life, she felt like she was doing something important. Something meaningful. Bello watched her work with pride. "You have a good heart," he told her. "You will do great things with my money after I am gone." "Do not talk about dying," Lena said. She was surprised to realize she meant it. She did not want Bello to die. Not anymore. He had become her friend. Her teacher. Almost like a father. "We must talk about it," Bello said gently. "I am getting weaker. The cancer is spreading. We need to make plans." He took her to meet his lawyers. They prepared legal documents. Everything was arranged so that when Bello died, all his wealth would go to Lena. His businesses, his properties, his bank accounts, everything. The lawyers estimated his net worth at over 50 billion naira. Lena felt overwhelmed. She had grown up with nothing. Now she was going to inherit more money than she could imagine. "I will use it well," she promised Bello. "I will continue your foundation. I will help people like you helped my mother and me." "I know you will," Bello said. "That is why I chose you." As the months passed, Bello grew weaker. Some days he could not get out of bed. The pain was getting worse. Doctors came to the house regularly to check on him and give him medicine. But even on his bad days, Bello wanted to see Lena. She would sit by his bed and tell him about the foundation's work. She would read to him from the newspaper. She would just talk to him about anything and everything. Grace came to visit often. She and Bello became friends too. Grace would thank him over and over for saving her life. Bello would wave away her thanks and ask her to tell him stories about Lena as a child. One afternoon, Grace pulled Lena aside. "That man loves you like a daughter," she said. "He may not say it, but I can see it." Lena realized her mother was right. Somewhere along the way, their business arrangement had become something real. Bello cared about her. And she cared about him too. She started calling him Papa Bello instead of just Bello. The first time she did it, his eyes filled with tears. "No one has called me Papa in 40 years, he said quietly. "Well, you are my Papa now," Lena said, holding his hand. 6 months after their wedding, Bello threw a big party. He invited all his business associates and friends. At the party, he made a speech. "I want everyone to know that Lena is not just my wife," he announced. "She is my daughter in every way that matters. When I die, she will inherit everything. She will run my businesses. She will continue my work. Anyone who doubts her or tries to cheat her will answer to my lawyers. Is that clear?" Everyone nodded. The message was clear. Lena was protected. She was legitimate. She was his heir. After the party, Bello looked exhausted but happy. "Now everything is settled," he said to Lena. "Now I can rest easy." Lena hugged him carefully. He felt so thin and fragile now. "Thank you, Papa Bello. Thank you for everything." "Thank you, my daughter," he replied. "You gave this old man something precious in his last days. You gave me family. You gave me purpose again. You reminded me that there is still good in the world." That night, as Lena lay in bed, she thought about how much her life had changed. 6 months ago, she had been desperate and alone, willing to sell herself to save her mother. Now she had wealth, education, purpose, and most surprisingly of all, she had found love. Not romantic love, but something just as powerful. The love between a dying old man who had lost his daughter and a young woman who had never had a father. She had come to this mansion expecting to suffer. Instead, she had found a family. And soon, very soon, she would have to say goodbye to the man who had given her everything. 8 months after the wedding, Bello's health took a sharp turn for the worse. He could no longer leave his bed. The doctors said it was only a matter of days now. Maybe a week at most. Lena moved into the room next to his so she could hear him if he called during the night. Grace came to stay at the mansion too. They took turns sitting with Bello, reading to him, talking to him, just being there. Bello drifted in and out of consciousness. Sometimes he was alert and could talk. Other times he just slept. The pain medicine made him confused sometimes. He would call for Rita, his daughter who had died 40 years ago. Lena would hold his hand and tell him it was okay. On a quiet Tuesday morning, Bello woke up more alert than he had been in days. He asked for Lena and Grace to come sit with him. "I do not have much time left," he said. His voice was weak but clear. "I want to say goodbye properly." "Do not say that, Papa Bello," Lena said, tears already filling her eyes. "You will get better." Bello smiled slightly. "We both know that is not true. And that is okay. I am ready." He looked at Grace. "Thank you for letting me borrow your daughter these past months. She made my last days happy." Grace was crying. "Thank you for saving my life. And thank you for loving my daughter." Bello turned to Lena. "You are the daughter I lost and found again. You gave this lonely old man a reason to smile. Promise me you will use my money wisely. Help people. Make a difference." "I promise, Papa," Lena sobbed. "I promise." "Good." Bello closed his eyes. "I am tired now. I think I will rest." He never woke up again. That evening, as the sun set over Lagos, Chief Bello took his last breath. Lena and Grace were holding his hands. He went peacefully, without pain, surrounded by the family he had found in his final months. The funeral was enormous. Hundreds of people came. Business leaders, politicians, people Bello had helped over the years. Everyone spoke about his success, his wealth, his power. But only Lena and Grace knew the real man. The man who had lost everything and spent his life trying to fill the emptiness inside him. After the funeral, Lena felt lost. The big mansion was too quiet. She missed Bello's voice. She missed their evening dinners. She missed his lessons about business. She missed calling him Papa. 1 week after the funeral, Bello's lawyer came to the house. He brought a large box with him. "Chief Bello left these for you," the lawyer said. "He told me to give them to you after he passed. He said you should read them when you are ready." Inside the box were dozens of letters. All written by Bello. All addressed to Lena. Lena took the letters to her room. She opened the first one with shaking hands. It was dated from the day they had first met. The letter explained everything. How he had felt when his daughter died. How his wife had blamed him and left. How he had built his business empire to fill the hole in his heart. How money and power had never made him happy. How he had always felt guilty for not saving Rita. Other letters talked about specific days they had spent together. Bello described how he had felt watching Lena learn about business. How proud he was of her intelligence and kindness. How she had reminded him what it meant to be happy. One letter made Lena cry especially hard. In it, Bello wrote that helping Grace get surgery had been the first time he had felt at peace since Rita died. He wrote that by saving Grace he had somehow saved himself. He had finally done what he could not do 40 years ago. He had saved a daughter's mother. The last letter was different. It was not about the past. It was about the future. My dear Lena, it began. If you are reading this, I am gone. Do not be sad for too long. I lived a full life and I died happy because of you. Now I need you to do something for me. I need you to be brave. You are now one of the richest women in Nigeria. People will try to take advantage of you. They will say you do not deserve this money. They will try to cheat you. Do not let them. You earned this inheritance. You gave an old man love and companionship when he needed it most. Use this money to do good. Help people like your mother. Like my Rita. Like all the people who cannot afford medical care. Make my money mean something. I know you will make me proud. Lena dried her tears. She stood up and looked at herself in the mirror. She was no longer the scared market girl who had come to this mansion 8 months ago. She was different now. Stronger. Smarter. Ready. The next morning, Lena called a meeting with all of Bello's business managers and lawyers. She walked into the boardroom with her head held high. Some of the men looked at her with doubt. They thought she was just a young girl who had gotten lucky. They thought she would fail. Gentlemen, Lena said firmly, I am now the owner of all Chief Bello's businesses. I have spent the last 8 months learning everything about how they work. If any of you think I am not capable, you are welcome to leave now. But if you stay, you will work for me and you will treat me with respect. Is that clear? The room was silent. Then one by one the men nodded. They had underestimated her. They would not make that mistake again. Over the next year, Lena proved herself. She managed Bello's businesses carefully. She made smart decisions. She fired people who tried to cheat her and promoted people who worked hard. The businesses continued to grow and prosper. But more importantly, she expanded the Bello Foundation. She opened free medical clinics in Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt, and Kano. She made plans to open clinics in other African countries. Ghana, Kenya, Tanzania, South Africa. Each clinic provided free heart surgery, cancer treatment, and other expensive medical procedures to families who could not afford them. Each clinic had a plaque that read, "In memory of Rita Bello and all the children lost to poverty." Lena personally interviewed many families who came for help. She saw herself in them. She saw her mother in them. She saw Bello's pain in them. And she helped them all. The media started calling her the Angel of Lagos. Newspapers wrote stories about the poor market girl who had married a billionaire and was now using his fortune to save lives. People praised her charity and kindness. But Lena did not care about fame. She cared about the numbers. Every month, her foundation helped 50 families. That was 50 lives saved. 50 daughters who would not lose their mothers. 50 parents who would not lose their children. 2 years after Bello's death, Lena was invited to speak at a business conference. She stood on stage in front of hundreds of people and told her story. She did not hide the truth. She explained how she had married Bello to save her mother. How she had expected to suffer. How instead she had found a father and a purpose. Chief Bello taught me that money without purpose is empty, she said. He spent his whole life building wealth. But he told me his happiest days were the last 8 months of his life. When he was helping people. When he had family. When he had love. That is his legacy. Not the money. Not the businesses. The lives he saved. The people he helped. That is what I want to continue. The audience gave her a standing ovation. After the speech, a young woman approached Lena. She was crying. My son is sick, she said. He needs kidney surgery. I cannot afford it. I have been to every hospital. No one will help me. Please, can your foundation help? Lena looked at this desperate mother and saw herself 3 years ago. Scared. Alone. Willing to do anything to save someone she loved. Yes, Lena said without hesitation. We will help you. Give your information to my assistant. Your son will have his surgery this week. The woman fell to her knees crying and thanking God. Lena helped her stand up. Do not thank me, Lena said gently. Thank Chief Bello. He started all of this. I am just continuing his work. That night, Lena sat in Bello's old study. She looked at his photograph on the desk. In the picture he was smiling. It was taken a month before he died, on a day when he had been feeling good. Lena had been joking with him about something and the photographer had caught his genuine smile. "I am keeping my promise, Papa," Lena said to the photograph. "I am using your money to help people. Your legacy lives on. Every child we save, every family we help, that is you. That is your Rita living on through them." She felt at peace. She had come to this mansion 3 years ago with nothing but desperation. She had expected to sacrifice everything. Instead, she had gained everything. Purpose, family, love. And now she was using her wealth and power to give other desperate families the same chance Bello had given her. She was no longer just Lena the market girl. She was Lena Bello, businesswoman, philanthropist, and the daughter of a man who had taught her that true wealth is measured not in money but in lives saved and love shared. And every day she worked to make him proud.